Garrett Fry, the Shipyard Sequence Lead for 3D Digital Map Painting, and we are looking at shot 0009. So let's go ahead and play this shot. So it pans over to the right, and we have a really cool truck that's moving through here. However, probably right here is about where we should keep. So we should keep all of this stuff and then add on to more things out here. So this is a bit low for the direction that we've been given. The direction we've been given is that this needs to feel like a canyon of shipping containers. So this is only too high. So adding additional shipping containers to this, maybe these green things may stay, but then you have more shipping containers through here. So it's some interesting things that you can do with shipping containers, and you can see this in the plate here is that it stacks, it stair steps back here. So it has this little stair steppy thing along with some solid up and down rows here or columns, and then you have some stair steppy things in front of it, and then maybe you could have some more columns and stuff. Of course, this you're not touching, but it would be out here. You could simulate that same thing, the stair steppy, the straight thing, the stair steppy shipping containers right next to it to make it really visually interesting. And so this shot is done in such a way that we're kind of looking this way. So we're seeing more of the sun side of these shipping containers than we do on other shots, which is a really cool opportunity to do some really interesting things with the sun and how it plays on all of these shipping containers. So as you are laying out these shipping containers, you can do them there, and then in Maya, make sure you're just placing a light there, or you're using the photography to fill in this area and to get some interesting designs. So with your layout, do several iterations. So if you're doing the CG assets, then it's pretty easy to go through a lot of different iterations very, very quickly just to make sure you get a really nice design. If you're doing it in Photoshop and you're laying this out with photography, then you have a lot of photography that you can just throw in there, and then just throw on quick adjustment layers and stuff to simulate the light hitting that, because the light is actually part of the composition. So you'll need to, not just the placement of the objects, but just putting in the light. So in 3D, put in a light source and render it and see how the light plays across these. So on the left-hand side here also, you need to have some shipping containers here. So it's kind of nice to have it kind of set back like this and then start your rows back here, but it should also feel like there's shipping containers up here. When you are doing this, I would make sure that you're not making it so high that we don't see the sky over here. So if it's completely like this, it may not be as interesting as being able to see little bits of the sky through there. And if it's too tall here, then all of this will be in shadow. So you can see here on the plate, these are like 5 or 6 high, and it completely covers the whole side here. So if that's the case, then it'll make the shot really boring. So you're going to want to make sure it's not as high. You can give that canyon feel without it being too high and taking over the whole shot with shadow, because that would be a bit boring. And something also you can do is have these little, these little bits of light poking through. So if it is really tall, then maybe there's a space between this row and the one next to it, and in between those two, that we're seeing a little shard of light come through. And so that kind of like light shadow, light shadow, light shadow as it goes back is really interesting as well. So a lot to consider on this shot. Before you jump into these shots, it's a good idea to familiarize yourself with the resources you have available to you. Decide if you're going to use an environment TD, a matte painting, or a matte painting generalist approach. There are 3 sets of shipping container photos and a bunch of images for texturing. Also, make sure you take advantage of the high-resolution shipping container assets with 3 different level of detail models.